Chosen one, stop everything, right now. This is not a coincidence, not a fleeting moment you stumbled upon. This is a divine summons, a sacred interruption from the heavens themselves. Picture a radiant scroll unfurling in the sky, your name etched in golden light, calling you to a destiny so profound it shakes the foundations of your fears. God is speaking directly to your soul, saying, "This is about to happen to you. Open your heart immediately." The urgency in the air is palpable, like a holy wind sweeping through your life, clearing the clutter of doubt and igniting a fire of purpose within you. You've been waiting, wondering, wrestling with questions that kept you up at night. Why the delays? Why the pain? Why the silence? But chosen one, those struggles were not punishment. They were preparation. God has been sculpting you in the secret place, refining your spirit for a breakthrough so massive it will rewrite your story. This video unveils a unique truth. The fears that have held you back are the very keys to your greatest spiritual awakening. Your deepest anxieties are not chains. They are doorways to divine provision, abundance, and a prosperous life. Are you ready to step through? Feel the weight of this moment. You're not here by accident. Imagine a celestial clock ticking, its hands aligning for this precise second, where heaven's plans for your destiny collide with your readiness to receive. You've carried burdens, financial stress, broken relationships, dreams that felt too big for your reality. Maybe you've stared at a bank account that mocked your hopes, or felt the sting of betrayal from those you trusted. Those moments weren't meant to break you. They were divine setups, training your soul to trust in God's plan. The Bible declares in Isaiah 55:8, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways." What you saw as setbacks, God saw as stepping stones. Every tear you shed watered the seeds of your divine purpose. And now, chosen one, the harvest is near. Your faith journey has led you to this sacred ground, where personal transformation begins. But what does this mean for you right now? Let's pause and ground this in a story that feels like it could be yours. Imagine Sarah, a single mother in a small town, working 2 jobs to keep the lights on. For years, she prayed for financial freedom, but bills piled up, and her dreams of starting a community center for kids felt like a cruel fantasy. One night, exhausted, she whispered a desperate prayer. "God, am I forgotten?" The next day, a stranger at her diner left a note with her tip, "Keep going, your vision is bigger than you know." That note sparked something in Sarah. She started small, writing down her goal to open the center. Within weeks, a local business owner overheard her story and offered to fund her first workshop. Today, Sarah's center serves hundreds of children, and she walks in the overflow of divine provision. Her fear of failure was the key to her breakthrough, just as your fears are the keys to yours. Can you feel the stirring in your spirit? This is your moment to unlock what God has prepared. Chosen one, the fears you've faced, fear of lack, fear of rejection, fear of stepping out, are not your enemies. They are invitations to trust God's promise of abundance. Picture a locked door, glowing with the promise of everything you've dreamed of. A prosperous life, meaningful relationships, a legacy that echoes beyond your lifetime. The key to that door is not perfection or certainty, it's courage. God is saying, "I've seen your heart. I've heard your cries. Now step forward in faith and watch me move." The Bible assures us in 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." Your fears are not roadblocks. They are the raw material for your spiritual awakening. They are the soil where your destiny takes root. But how do you turn fear into faith? Here are 3 specific, practical steps you can take right now to step into your divine moment. First, write down one fear that's been holding you back. Be honest. Maybe it's the fear of starting that business, or the fear of forgiving someone who hurt you. Put it on paper, then beside it write one small action you can take this week to face it. For example, if you fear financial lack, your action might be creating a simple budget to steward what you have. Second, reach out to one person who inspires you. Send a message, make a call, or meet for coffee. Share your dream or your struggle, and let their encouragement remind you that you're not alone. Third, start one project you've delayed. It doesn't have to be perfect. Write the first page of that book, sketch the logo for your business, or sign up for that course. These steps are your prophetic acts, signaling to heaven that you're ready for overflow. Let's make this real. Imagine you're sitting at your kitchen table, a notebook open, your heart racing. You write, "I'm afraid I'll never have enough." Then you take a deep breath and jot down, "This week, I'll save $10, 0 cents, and research a side hustle." That simple act shifts something in the spirit. Or picture yourself texting a friend who always lifts you up, saying, "Can we talk? I'm ready to chase this dream." That conversation sparks courage you didn't know you had. These actions aren't just tasks. They're declarations that you're aligning with God's plan. Psalm 37:5 says, "Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him and He will act." Your small steps are the spark. God's power is the flame. Now, chosen one, if this message is stirring your soul, I invite you to support this ministry through Super Thanks. Your gift helps us spread the message of divine provision to more hearts longing for their breakthrough. Every dollar sows seeds of hope, connecting chosen ones like you to their prosperous life. Let's keep this movement alive together. And if your spirit is resonating with this word, type "I am stepping into my divine moment" in the comments below. Let heaven see your faith, and let this community of believers cheer you on. But what if the fear feels too big? What if the door before you seems impossible to open? Chosen one, that's where the beauty of God's timing shines. Imagine a river, steady and strong, carving its path through stone. Your fears are the stone, and God's promises are the river, relentless and unstoppable. Every moment you've doubted, every night you've wondered if your prayers were heard, has been a moment of divine orchestration. Your faith journey isn't a sprint, it's a sacred dance, each step drawing you closer to personal transformation. The Bible reminds us in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." Your season of abundance is now. Think of David, a shepherd boy facing Goliath. His fear was real. His heart pounded as he held that slingshot. But he didn't let fear write his story. He declared in 1 Samuel 17:45, "I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." One stone, one step, one act of courage changed everything. Your fears are your Goliath, and your faith is the stone. What's the one step you can take today? Maybe it's the budget you wrote, the call you made, or the project you started. Those actions are your slingshot, and God's hand is guiding the stone. Chosen one, your life is a canvas, and God is painting a masterpiece of prosperity and purpose. Picture vibrant colors spilling across the page. Gold for abundance, blue for peace, red for courage. Every fear you face adds depth to the picture. Every step you take brings it to life. You're not just surviving, you're creating a legacy. The world needs your light, your voice, your unique gift. Will you let fear dim it, or will you let faith amplify it? The choice is yours, and heaven is watching. But what if the fear you're facing is the very doorway to your divine provision? Chosen one, let that question linger in your spirit like a holy echo. What if the fear you're facing is not a barrier, but a sacred threshold, shimmering portal to the divine provision God has prepared for you? Imagine standing before a radiant gate, its surface pulsing with light, inscribed with promises of abundance, purpose, and unshakable peace. The fear you feel, the racing heart, the trembling hands, is not a signal to retreat, but a divine invitation to step forward. Your spiritual awakening is unfolding, and every ounce of courage you muster now is a key unlocking the treasures of your destiny. The Bible declares in Joshua 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Your fear is not your foe. It's the fuel for your faith journey, propelling you into a prosperous life. Picture this. You're walking through a dense forest, the path obscured by shadows of doubt and worry. Each step feels heavy, as if the weight of your struggles, bills, broken dreams, unspoken hurts, presses against your chest. But suddenly, a beam of light pierces the canopy, illuminating a clearing where a single flower blooms, vibrant and unafraid. That flower is you, chosen one, rooted in God's plan, defying the darkness with your resilience. Your fears are the shadows, but God's promises are the light, guiding you to a place of overflow. You've already taken the first steps, writing down your fear, reaching out to a friend, starting that project. These are not small acts, they are seismic shifts in the spiritual realm, declarations that you're ready to claim your divine purpose. Let's make this vivid with another story. Consider James, a young graphic designer who felt trapped in a dead-end job. He dreamed of launching his own studio but was paralyzed by the fear of failure. "What if I quit and can't pay my rent?" he'd ask himself, staring at his sketchbook late at night. One Sunday, his pastor quoted Philippians 4:13. "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Those words hit James like a lightning bolt. He took his first step, sketching a logo for his dream studio. Then he called a mentor who encouraged him to pitch to a local non-profit. That pitch led to his first client, and within months, James left his job, his studio now thriving with projects that light up his soul. His fear of failure was the doorway to his breakthrough, just as your fears are portals to your personal transformation. Now, chosen one, let's deepen this truth. Your fears are not random. They are divinely curated. God allows them to surface, not to torment you, but to teach you trust. Imagine a master sculptor chiseling a marble block. Each strike of the chisel, each fear, each challenge removes what doesn't belong, revealing the masterpiece within. You are that masterpiece, crafted for a destiny that radiates wealth creation and spiritual fulfillment. Your fears are the chisel, shaping you for a life of abundance. When you wrote down that fear, you invited God to sculpt. When you reached out to someone, you let His light polish your edges. When you started that project, you stepped into the gallery of His purpose. These actions are your partnership with heaven, co-creating a future where lack has no place. But let's go further. Fear often disguises itself as practicality, whispering, "Be realistic, don't dream too big." Yet God's economy doesn't bow to human logic. Picture a vast ocean, its waves carrying treasures from distant shores, ideas, opportunities, connections. Your faith is the ship that sails this sea, and your fears are the winds that test your resolve. Will you lower the sails and drift, or will you steer boldly toward the horizon? The Bible reminds us in Hebrews 11:1, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Your 3 steps, writing, reaching out, starting, are your sails, catching the winds of divine timing. They're practical, yes, but they're also prophetic, signaling to the universe that you're ready for overflowing blessings. Let's paint another picture. Imagine a seed buried in dark soil, surrounded by the pressure of earth. It doesn't fight the weight. It uses it to break open, stretching toward the sun. Your fears are that soil pressing against you, but they're also the force that helps you grow. Every time you choose faith over fear, you sprout a little more, reaching for the light of God's promises. Your action steps are the roots, anchoring you in purpose, and the shoots, breaking through to a prosperous life. You're not just surviving the pressure, you're thriving through it, becoming a living testament to divine provision. Now, chosen one, let's talk about the community you're part of. You're not walking this path alone. Thousands of souls just like you are awakening to their divine purpose, shedding fear and stepping into destiny. If this message is igniting your spirit, join them by typing, "I am claiming my divine provision," in the comments below. Let your voice echo in this sacred space, a declaration that you're ready for what God has prepared. And if you're moved to support this ministry, consider a super thanks gift. Your generosity fuels this movement, spreading the light of abundance to hearts across the globe. Together, we're building a legacy of faith and transformation. But what happens when fear tries to creep back? Picture a lighthouse standing firm against crashing waves. The storm rages, but the light never wavers, guiding ships to safety. You are that lighthouse, chosen one, anchored in God's love, shining through the storms of doubt. Your 3 steps are the foundation, keeping you steady. When fear whispers, revisit that notebook where you wrote your fear and action. Call that friend again for a word of encouragement. Take the next small step on your project. A sentence, a sketch, a plan. These acts are your light, piercing the fog of fear and illuminating your faith journey. Let's ground this in another story. Maria, a teacher, always dreamed of writing a book about her family's immigration story. But fear of rejection stopped her. Publishers might say no, readers might not care. One evening, inspired by Romans 15:13, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him," she wrote her fear in a journal. "I'm afraid my story isn't enough." Her action? She wrote 1 page. Then she shared it with a colleague who connected her to a writing group. That group led to an editor, and today, Maria's book is in bookstores, inspiring thousands. Her fear was the soil. Her action was the seed. Your steps are your seeds, planted in the fertile ground of God's plan. Chosen one, your life is a symphony, and God is the composer. Each fear you face is a note, each step a melody, building toward a crescendo of breakthrough. Imagine standing on a stage, the spotlight warm on your face as the music swells, violins of courage, drums of faith, flutes of hope. Your actions, writing, reaching out, starting, are the instruments playing in harmony with heaven's score. You're not just living, you're creating a masterpiece of personal transformation, a song of abundance that echoes for generations. But what if the world tries to drown out your melody? The noise of comparison, criticism, or chaos can feel overwhelming. Picture a quiet stream, its waters clear and steady, untouched by the storms above. Your faith is that stream, flowing from the source of God's promises. When the world shouts, return to your 3 steps. They're your anchor, keeping you grounded in purpose. The Bible assures us in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Your fears are the storms, but your faith is the stream, carrying you to a prosperous life. Let's imagine another scene. You're climbing a mountain, the peak hidden in clouds. Each step is a battle against fear, fear of falling, fear of not being enough. But as you climb, you notice markers along the path, a written goal, a friend's encouragement, a project begun. These are God's signposts guiding you upward. With every step, the clouds part, revealing a vista of abundance. Fields of opportunity, rivers of provision, skies of peace. Your 3 steps are your climbing gear, equipping you for the ascent. You're not just reaching the peak, you're claiming your divine purpose. Chosen one, your fears are not the end of your story. They're the beginning of your testimony. Picture a tapestry, its threads woven with every moment you've faced fear and chosen faith. The dark strands of doubt are intertwined with gold of courage, silver of hope, and crimson of love. Your actions, writing, reaching out, starting, are the needle, stitching a narrative of breakthrough. You're not just surviving fear. You're weaving a legacy, a story that will inspire others to trust in God's plan. But what if the tapestry feels incomplete? The fears still lingering like loose threads? Chosen one, let that question weave itself into the fabric of your soul. What if the fears lingering like loose threads are not flaws in your tapestry, but divine invitations to deepen your trust in God's masterpiece? Picture your life as a vast, unfolding mural, painted across a celestial canvas, each stroke telling a story of resilience, faith, and destiny. Those threads of fear, doubt about your worth, anxiety about the future, hesitation to fully embrace your calling, are not mistakes. They're the delicate lines that add texture, depth, and authenticity to your spiritual awakening. God is not erasing your fears. He's using them to highlight the brilliance of your divine purpose, like shadows that make the light shine brighter. The Bible whispers in Psalm 56:3, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you." Your fears are not the end of the painting. They're the brushstrokes that draw you closer to a prosperous life. Imagine standing in a vast gallery, your mural stretching across the walls, alive with vibrant scenes, moments of courage, acts of faith, dreams taking flight. Each fear you've faced is a shade in the palette, carefully chosen by the Creator to craft a story that resonates with eternity. The 3 steps you've taken, writing down your fear and action, reaching out to someone, starting that delayed project, are bold colors splashed across the canvas, declaring your readiness for abundance. These steps aren't just tasks, they're sacred signatures, marking your commitment to God's plan. Every time you pick up that pen, make that call, or take that first step, you're painting with heaven's hues, creating a legacy of personal transformation that inspires others to step into their own divine moment. Let's anchor this with a story that feels like it could be yours. Picture Lena, a nurse who always felt a pull to start a health outreach for her community. Fear gripped her. Fear that she lacked the resources, the time, or the expertise. "Who am I to do this?" she'd whisper, staring at her overworked schedule. But one evening, inspired by Matthew 17:20, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move,' and it will move." Lena took her first step. She wrote her fear, "I'm afraid I'll fail." Her action? She drafted a simple plan for a free health clinic. Then she called a colleague who connected her to a local church willing to host. That single call led to volunteers, donations, and within a year, Lena's outreach was serving hundreds. Her fear was the shadow. Her faith was the light, illuminating a path to divine provision. Your steps, chosen one, are your light, shining through the shadows of doubt. Now let's deepen the vision. Your fears are not just personal. They're prophetic. They point to the areas where God is preparing your greatest breakthroughs. Imagine a treasure map, its edges worn, marked with X's where riches await. Each fear you face is an X, a place where God has hidden wealth, not just financial but emotional, relational, and spiritual. Your action steps are the compass, guiding you to these treasures. When you wrote your fear, you marked the map. When you reached out, you set the course. When you started your project, you began the journey. These acts align you with heaven's coordinates, leading you to a life of overflowing blessings. The Bible assures us in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Your fears are the map, your faith is the journey. Picture yourself now, standing at the edge of a golden field, the horizon glowing with promise. The wind carries whispers of your destiny, words like abundance, purpose, and legacy. Your fears are the weeds at your feet, small but persistent, trying to distract you from the harvest ahead. But your 3 steps are the scythe, cutting through the doubts, clearing the path to prosperity. You don't need to uproot every weed at once. Each step you take tramples fear underfoot, making way for God's provision to flourish. Your notebook, your phone call, your project. They're not just actions, they're declarations that you're claiming the field, sowing seeds for a prosperous life that will feed generations. Let's bring this to life with another story. Consider Ethan, a father who dreamed of opening a carpentry shop, but was paralyzed by the fear of leaving his stable job. "What if I can't provide for my family?" he'd ask, his tools gathering dust. One morning, reading Deuteronomy 31:6, "Be strong and courageous, do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes with you," Ethan felt a spark. He wrote his fear, "I'm afraid of losing security." His action? He built a small table as a sample. Then he called a friend who owned a furniture store, sharing his vision. That friend displayed Ethan's table, and orders poured in. Today, Ethan's shop thrives, his family secure, his fear transformed into a foundation for wealth creation. Your steps, chosen one, are your foundation, building a future where fear bows to faith. Now, let's shift the scene. Imagine a riverbank, the water swift and clear, reflecting a sky ablaze with stars. Each star is a promise from God, provision, peace, purpose, shining over your life. Your fears are the pebbles in the river, small but enough to stir ripples of doubt. Yet your 3 steps are the stones you place to cross, each one steadying your path to the other side. Writing your fear is the first stone, grounding your trust. Reaching out is the second, connecting you to God's people. Starting your project is the third, launching you toward destiny. These steps are your bridge, carrying you over fear to a land of divine provision. Every time you act, you're stepping closer to the stars, claiming the promises written for you before time began. Chosen one, your fears are not your identity. They're your instructors. They teach you to lean on God's strength, to trust His timing, to embrace His abundance. Picture a classroom, its walls lined with maps of your faith journey. Your fears are the lessons, each one revealing a truth about God's faithfulness. When you wrote your fear, you learned He sees your heart. When you reached out, you discovered He sends helpers. When you started your project, you realized He multiplies your efforts. These lessons are building a syllabus for your spiritual awakening, preparing you to teach others through your life. The Bible declares in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Your fears are the curriculum. Your faith is the degree. Let's paint another picture. Imagine a forge, its flames roaring, a blacksmith shaping molten metal. Your fears are the raw ore, rough and unyielding, but God is the blacksmith, using the heat of your challenges to craft something extraordinary. Your 3 steps are the hammer strikes, shaping fear into faith, doubt into destiny. Each strike, writing, reaching out, starting, ready for a prosperous life. You're not just enduring the fire, you're being forged into a vessel of divine purpose, a tool in God's hands to build a legacy of abundance. Now, chosen one, let's invite the community to join you. If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, type "I am crossing to my promised land" in the comments below. Let your words be a beacon, uniting you with thousands of chosen souls walking this path. Your voice matters, and heaven is listening. And if you're moved to fuel this movement, consider a super thanks gift to help us spread the light of divine provision to more hearts. Together, we're forging a future where fear is powerless against faith. But what if the forge feels too hot, the fears too heavy to shape? Imagine a quiet meadow, dawn breaking, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of new beginnings. Your fears are the dew on the grass, temporary and fleeting, evaporating under the warmth of God's promises. Your 3 steps are the path through the meadow, leading you to a sunrise of breakthrough. Each step, writing, reaching out, starting, is a moment of trust, a choice to believe that the dawn is coming. Your fears may linger, but they're no match for the light of God's plan, guiding you to a life of overflowing blessings. Let's ground this with one more story. Sophia, a musician, longed to share her songs, but feared no one would listen. What if my voice isn't enough, she'd wonder, her guitar untouched. One night, inspired by Psalm 37:4, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart," she took action. She wrote her fear, "I'm afraid of being ignored." Her step? She recorded one song. Then she shared it with a friend who posted it online. That post went viral, and Sophia's music now touches thousands. Her fear was the dew. Her faith was the dawn. Your steps, chosen one, are your dawn, breaking through the night of doubt. Your life, chosen one, is a garden, and God is the gardener. Your fears are the stones in the soil, but your 3 steps are the seeds, planted with care, destined to bloom into abundance. Each action you take, writing, reaching out, starting, is a seed of faith, tended by heaven's hands. The garden is growing, its flowers vibrant with purpose, its fruit heavy with provision. You're not just planting for today, you're cultivating a harvest for tomorrow, a legacy that will nourish those who follow. But what if the garden feels barren? The fears like thorns threatening to choke your dreams? Chosen one, let that question take root in your spirit like a sacred seed, ready to sprout in the fertile soil of God's promises. What if the fears that feel like thorns threatening to choke your dreams are not invaders in your garden, but signposts pointing to the places where God is about to pour out his abundance? Picture your life as a sprawling vineyard, its vines heavy with the potential for a harvest of divine provision, purpose, and legacy. Those thorns, fears of inadequacy, rejection, or uncertainty, are not there to destroy your dreams. They are divine markers, highlighting the very soil where your spiritual awakening will bloom most vibrantly. The Bible declares in Isaiah 41:10, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you." Your fears are not the end of the vineyard. They're the beginning of a harvest that will overflow with blessing. Imagine standing among those vines, the air rich with the scent of earth and possibility. Each thorn of fear pricks, but it also awakens, urging you to tend the garden with faith. Your 3 steps, writing down your fear and action, reaching out to someone, starting that project, are the tools of a master gardener, pruning doubt and planting hope. These actions are not mere tasks, they're sacred rituals, aligning your heart with heaven's rhythm. When you wrote your fear, you cleared the soil. When you reached out, you watered the vines. When you started your project, you invited the sun to shine. These steps are your partnership with God, cultivating a prosperous life that bears fruit for generations. Let's bring this to life with a story that mirrors your journey. Picture Aisha, a young entrepreneur with a vision to start a bakery that employed single mothers. Fear of financial ruin haunted her. Memories of her own childhood poverty whispered she'd fail. "What if I can't make it work?" she'd ask, her business plan untouched. One evening, reading Psalm 27:1, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Aisha felt a spark. She wrote her fear. "I'm afraid of losing everything." Her action? She sketched a menu for her bakery. Then she called a friend who introduced her to a local women's shelter. That connection led to grants, and within a year, Aisha's bakery was thriving, empowering dozens of women. Her fear was the thorn, her faith was the vine, yielding a harvest of divine provision. Your steps, chosen one, are your vines, stretching toward a future of abundance. Now let's deepen this vision. Your fears are not just obstacles. They're divine invitations to trust God's timing. Imagine a clock tower, its hands carved from starlight, ticking in sync with heaven's plans. Each fear you face is a chime, signaling a moment where God is calling you to lean into His promises. Your 3 steps are the gears, moving the hands toward your breakthrough. Writing your fear sets the mechanism in motion. Reaching out keeps it turning, and starting your project propels it forward. These actions are your alignment with divine timing, ensuring no fear can stop the clock of your destiny. The Bible assures us in Habakkuk 2:3, "The vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie." Your fears are the chimes. Your faith is the clock, marking the hour of your personal transformation. Picture yourself now, standing beneath that tower, the night sky ablaze with stars. Each star is a promise, provision, peace, purpose, glimmering with the weight of God's love. Your fears are the clouds that sometimes obscure them, but your 3 steps are the winds that clear the sky. Writing, reaching out, starting, these are your gusts of faith, revealing the constellations of your divine purpose. You're not just chasing stars, you're claiming them, weaving their light into a story that shines for others. Every step you take is a declaration that fear has no hold over a life backed by heaven's favor. Let's ground this with another story. Consider Malik, a teacher who dreamed of creating an online course to inspire students but feared he lacked the charisma to compete. What if no one watches, he'd wonder, his laptop closed. One morning, inspired by Proverbs 16:3, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans," Malik took action. He wrote his fear, "I'm afraid I'm not enough." His step? He outlined one lesson. Then he called a former student who encouraged him to post a teaser video. That video gained traction, and Malik's course now reaches thousands. His fear was the cloud. His faith was the wind, clearing the way for wealth creation. Your steps, chosen one, are your winds, sweeping fear aside to reveal a prosperous life. Now, let's shift the scene. Imagine a lighthouse perched on a cliff, its beam cutting through a stormy night. The waves of fear, doubt, insecurity, hesitation crash against the rocks, but the light never falters. You are that lighthouse, chosen one, anchored in God's truth, shining through the tempests of life. Your 3 steps are the fuel for that beam, keeping it steady. Writing your fear is the spark, reaching out is the oil, and starting your project is the flame. These actions are your radiance, guiding you and others to the shores of divine provision. Every time you act, you're not just surviving the storm, you're illuminating the path to a legacy of abundance. Let's make this vivid with another life. Sarah, a widow, longed to open a shelter for homeless youth, but feared she was too old to start over. What if I'm past my prime, she'd ask, her plans tucked away. One Sunday, hearing Ephesians 3:20, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, Sarah felt a shift. She wrote her fear, "I'm afraid it's too late." Her action, she drafted a proposal for the shelter. Then she called a local pastor who connected her to donors. That call led to funding, and Sarah's shelter now houses dozens. Her fear was the wave. Her faith was the light, guiding her to a breakthrough. Your steps, chosen one, are your light, piercing the darkness of doubt. Now, let's invite the community to shine with you. If this message is stirring your soul, type, "I am shining with heaven's light" in the comments below. Let your words be a flare, joining thousands of chosen souls in this movement of faith. Your voice is a spark, igniting a fire of hope across the globe. And if you're moved to support this ministry, consider a super thanks gift. Your generosity fuels the beam of divine provision, reaching hearts longing for their moment. Together, we're building a constellation of breakthroughs, each one a testament to God's plan. But let's go deeper. Your fears are not just challenges, they're divine mirrors, reflecting the areas where God is calling you to grow. Imagine a still lake, its surface a perfect mirror, showing the sky above and the depths below. Your fears are the ripples, disturbing the reflection, but your 3 steps are the calm, restoring clarity. Writing your fear reveals the truth. Reaching out connects you to God's people, and starting your project anchors you in purpose. These actions are your stillness, allowing you to see God's promises clearly. The Bible declares in James 1:5, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault." Your fears are the ripples. Your faith is the mirror, reflecting a prosperous life. Picture yourself by that lake, the water now calm, the stars above mirrored perfectly below. Each fear you've faced is a ripple that has settled, each step a moment of trust that has cleared the surface. You're not just seeing the stars, you're becoming one, a beacon of God's glory. Your 3 steps are the pebbles you've skipped across the water, creating new ripples not of fear, but of faith, hope, and abundance. Every action you take sends waves of possibility into the world, touching lives you may never meet, building a legacy that echoes beyond your lifetime. Let's anchor this with one more story. Daniel, a mechanic, dreamed of starting a mentorship program for at-risk teens, but feared he lacked the influence to make a difference. What if no one listens? He'd ask, his tools idle. One night, reading 1 Corinthians 16:14, "Do everything in love," Daniel found courage. He wrote his fear, "I'm afraid I'm insignificant." His action? He planned a free car repair workshop for teens. Then he called a community leader who offered a venue. That workshop grew into a program now transforming lives. His fear was the ripple, his faith was the calm, reflecting divine purpose. Your steps, chosen one, are your calm, clearing the way for personal transformation. Your life, chosen one, is a symphony, and God is the conductor. Your fears are the dissonant notes, jarring but essential, adding depth to the melody. Your 3 steps are the harmonies, weaving faith, courage, and action into a song of breakthrough. Writing, reaching out, starting, these are the chords, resonating with heaven's score. You're not just playing a tune, you're composing a masterpiece, a hymn of abundance that lifts every heart it touches. The Bible reminds us in Zephaniah 3:17, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you." Your fears are the notes. Your faith is the song rising to the heavens. Imagine now a grand hall, its ceiling painted with a fresco of your faith journey. Each fear is a shadow in the design, each step a burst of color. Gold for courage, blue for trust, red for love. Your 3 steps are the artist's brush, adding life to the scene. You're not just a figure in the fresco, you're the creator, painting a story of divine provision with every choice you make. The world is watching, waiting for the unveiling of your masterpiece, a testament to God's plan. But what if the fresco feels unfinished? The fears like smudges on the canvas, threatening to obscure your vision. Chosen one, let that question pulse through your spirit like a sacred heartbeat. What if the fears that feel like smudges on your canvas are not blemishes but divine accents carefully placed by the Creator to highlight the brilliance of your unfolding masterpiece? Picture your life as a vast, luminous mural stretching across the heavens, each stroke a testament to your resilience, faith, and destiny. Those smudges, fears of failure, rejection, or being unseen, are not flaws. They're the shadows that give depth to the radiant colors of your divine purpose. God is not erasing your fears, He's blending them into a work of art that declares His glory. The Bible whispers in Romans 15:13, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace, as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." Your fears are not the end of the mural, they're the contours that shape a prosperous life. Imagine standing before this mural, its colors shimmering under a divine light, gold for abundance, emerald for growth, sapphire for peace. Each fear you've faced is a subtle shade, adding dimension to the scene. Your 3 steps, writing down your fear and action, reaching out to someone, starting that project, are the bold strokes, painting courage over doubt, purpose over hesitation. These actions are not mere tasks, they're sacred brushstrokes, aligning your life with God's plan. When you wrote your fear, you sketched the outline. When you reached out, you added depth. When you started your project, you brought the mural to life. These steps are your collaboration with heaven, crafting a story of personal transformation that echoes across generations. Let's ground this with a story that feels like yours. Picture Clara, a librarian who dreamed of starting a literacy program for refugees, but feared she lacked the authority to lead. "What if I'm not qualified?" she'd whisper, her plans buried in notebooks. One evening, inspired by Isaiah 40:31, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength," Clara took action. She wrote her fear, "I'm afraid I'm not enough." Her step? She drafted a proposal for the program. Then, she called a local non-profit leader who connected her to volunteers. That call sparked a movement, and Clara's program now teaches hundreds. Her fear was the shadow, her faith was the stroke, painting a legacy of divine provision. Your steps, chosen one, are your strokes, bringing vibrancy to your faith journey. Now, let's deepen this vision. Your fears are not just shadows. They're divine invitations to trust God's light. Imagine a stained glass window, its panels glowing with the colors of your destiny. Crimson for courage, amber for hope, violet for wisdom. Each fear is a piece of glass, shaped by the pressures of life. But your 3 steps are the lead that holds them together, creating a window that lets heaven's light shine through. Writing your fear is the first strip, grounding your trust. Reaching out is the second, connecting you to God's community. Starting your project is the third, illuminating your purpose. These actions are your framework, transforming fear into a radiant display of abundance. The Bible assures us in Psalm 112:4, "Even in darkness, light dawns for the upright." Your fears are the glass. Your faith is the light, revealing a prosperous life. Picture yourself standing before this window, sunlight streaming through, casting patterns of promise across your path. Each fear you've faced is a panel, each step a moment of trust that lets the light in. You're not just admiring the window, you're part of it, a living mosaic of God's grace. Your 3 steps are the artistry, weaving fear into beauty, doubt into destiny. Every time you act, writing, reaching out, starting, you're adding a new panel, letting more light flood your life and the lives of those around you. You're not just surviving fear, you're creating a beacon of breakthrough that guides others to their own divine moment. Let's bring this to life with another story. Imagine Javier, a chef who dreamed of opening a food truck to serve his community, but feared he'd never afford it. What if I lose everything, he'd ask, his recipes untouched. One morning, reading Matthew 19:26, with God all things are possible, Javier felt a shift. He wrote his fear. I'm afraid of financial ruin. His action? He created a sample menu. Then he called a friend who knew a local investor. That call led to a loan, and Javier's food truck now feeds hundreds. His fear transformed into a feast of wealth creation. His fear was the panel. His faith was the light, shining through to a prosperous life. Your steps, chosen one, are your light, illuminating the path to abundance. Now let's shift the scene. Imagine a vast desert, its sands stretching endlessly, yet beneath lies a hidden spring, waiting to burst forth. Your fears are the dry sands, doubts about your worth, worries about the future. But your 3 steps are the shovel, digging deep to release the spring of divine provision. Writing your fear uncovers the source, reaching out channels the flow, and starting your project lets it gush forth. These actions are your excavation, unearthing the rivers of purpose God has placed within you. You're not just crossing the desert, you're transforming it into an oasis, a place of refreshment for yourself and others. The Bible declares in Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Your fears are the sands. Your faith is the spring, nourishing a legacy of abundance. Picture yourself kneeling in that desert, hands in the sand, feeling the cool water beneath. Each step you take, writing, reaching out, starting, is a scoop, bringing the spring closer to the surface. You're not just digging for survival. You're uncovering a source that will never run dry. Your actions are prophetic, signaling to heaven that you're ready for the overflow. Every fear you face is a grain of sand, temporary and fleeting, swept away by the current of God's promises. You're not just finding water, you're creating a well, a place where others can drink from your faith journey. Let's anchor this with another story. Maria, a graphic designer, dreamed of launching a non-profit to teach art to underprivileged kids, but feared she lacked the network to succeed. What if no one supports me, she'd wonder, her sketches hidden. One night, inspired by Philippians 2:13, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act, in order to fulfill his good purpose," Maria took action. She wrote her fear, "I'm afraid I'm alone." Her step, she designed a flyer for her program. Then she called a community center director who offered space. That flyer drew donors, and Maria's non-profit now inspires hundreds. Her fear was the sand. Her faith was the spring, flowing with divine provision. Your steps, chosen one, are your spring, releasing abundance into your life. Now, let's invite the community to drink from this well. If this message is quenching your spirit, type "I am tapping into my divine spring" in the comments below. Let your words be a ripple, joining thousands of chosen souls in this movement of faith. Your voice is a current, flowing through this sacred space. And if you're moved to support this ministry, consider a super thanks gift. Your generosity waters the desert, spreading the message of divine provision to hearts across the globe. Together we're creating an oasis of breakthrough, where fear is powerless against faith. Imagine now a mountain trail, winding upward, its peaks hidden in mist. Your fears are the rocks along the path, stumbling blocks of doubt, insecurity, or hesitation. But your 3 steps are the footholds, steadying your climb. Writing your fear marks the trail, reaching out strengthens your grip, and starting your project propels you higher. These actions are your ascent, carrying you toward a summit of personal transformation. You're not just climbing for yourself, you're blazing a trail for others, showing them the way to their own divine purpose. The Bible assures us in Psalm 121, 1-2, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Your fears are the rocks. Your faith is the trail, leading to a prosperous life. Picture yourself on that trail, the wind whispering promises of abundance. Each step you take, writing, reaching out, starting, is a marker guiding you through the mist. You're not just navigating fear, you're conquering it, claiming the heights God has prepared for you. Every action is a declaration that you're ready for the view from the top, a panorama of provision, purpose, and legacy. You're not just a climber, you're a pioneer, forging a path for others to follow, a testament to God's plan. Let's bring this to life with one more story. Liam, a writer, dreamed of publishing a novel, but feared his voice would be lost in the noise. What if no one cares, he'd ask, his manuscript untouched. One morning, reading 2 Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness, Liam found courage. He wrote his fear. I'm afraid I'm invisible. His action? He wrote 1 chapter. Then he called a friend who knew an editor. That chapter caught attention, and Liam's novel now inspires thousands. His fear was the rock. His faith was the foothold, lifting him to a breakthrough. Your steps, chosen one, are your footholds, carrying you to the summit of abundance. Your life, chosen one, is a tapestry, woven with threads of fear and faith. Each fear is a strand, each step a weave, creating a pattern of divine provision that tells a story of resilience and purpose. Writing, reaching out, starting, these are the needles, stitching courage into doubt, hope into hesitation. You're not just weaving for today, you're crafting a legacy that will wrap future generations in warmth and inspiration. The Bible declares in Ecclesiastes 11:1, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. Your fears are the threads. Your faith is the tapestry, draping your life in overflowing blessings. Imagine standing before this